What's going on this week in Nerf?
Welcome to This Week in Nerf, your source for first-party, third-party, and community Nerf news. I'm Adriana, and a couple of weeks ago, I called Drac a conspiracy theorist. Turns out the Nexus Pro is real, so I have to eat my words. Got some other stuff to talk about first, though. Several Elite 2.0 blasters were found at Target this week. We'll start out with the Trio. It's essentially a triad, but this one has no screws, similar to the Elite 2.0 Volt that was found a couple weeks ago. For something of this same form factor, I don't know if I would actually pick up the Trio. The handle does look a lot more comfortable than the Triad, but I'm not a huge fan of the bulbous top. So for a holdout kind of blaster, I think I'd stick with the Triad, or if I wanted to go a little bit bigger, go with the Quadrat and get the extra shot. It seems like a no-brainer. The Shockwave has also shown its face at Target. That's the one with the 15-round rotating magazine. It does not have slamfire, despite being advertised as such. For that reason alone, it should stay on the shelf in favor of the Villainator. Willis 00788 has already taken his Shockwave apart. It does have screws, but there is also a spot of solvent weld on the back, but it shouldn't be too difficult to break. And speaking of being modder unfriendly, the Commander is also at Target. Essentially, this is a disruptor. It's got a 6-shot cylinder. Haphazardly named notes that while there are some screws, there are also hidden clips and solvent weld, making it a difficult blaster to break into. I genuinely like some of the shortcuts that Hasbro discovered, like the flat leaf trigger springs and the single piece rail attachment points, because I lose those small parts all the time. The cutout Elite 2.0 logo was clever to avoid paint, but the inclusion of these clips and solvent weld is endlessly frustrating. And I guess while we're on Elite 2.0, we saw a Phoenix photo this week. It's essentially a chunky strife with a scope, and I keep going back and forth on whether I actually like the shape or not. I do love the excessive tack rails that leads to a whole bunch of goofy fun, so I'm looking forward to seeing like all of the crazy tactical things people do with it. I am hoping that it's symmetrical. It's hard to tell from a sideways photo like this. And I also hope that that giant space in the front is where the battery is. If there's ample space for a battery, maybe it'll actually be moddable. You know, if there's a lack of clips and solvent weld. We can only hope. The Xshot Chaos Meteor was a really fun pistol. In terms of construction, it was so solid. It has a really interesting loading mechanism, and the blaster really just packs a punch for a little pistol. But it had terrible availability, absolutely abysmal. You could find it at Ross, at Rural King, at Family Dollar, but nowhere that I think I would shop with any regularity. We saw the half golden versions of these blasters at Toy Fair, and they're now available at Target, which is awesome. And 2 blasters for $30 is a really good buy for these things. The Royale edition is absolutely beautiful, and these blasters really do pack a punch. And while you're on Target's website, they also have several Elite 2.0 blasters listed already, as well as the Xshot Crusher and the Dart Zone Cornerfire. All of those are worth at least checking out. Phantom Lead on Reddit shared the Mesa. This is a 2-foot-long, 3.5-pound homemade Bullpup Springer. It fires full and half-length darts. It uses easy-to-find hardware that you can source either locally through hardware stores or on Amazon, and it accepts many of the common hobby springs. I absolutely love the look of this blaster. It's really industrial, but also so clean. And with so many metal bars, it has got to be as solid as a rock. A little strange, it doesn't have a pistol grip like we see on most blasters. Instead, you use a grip more like a traditional rifle. So because of that, you will have to use the stock to brace up against your shoulder when you prime. I don't know why I don't do that normally, but that's a me problem. If I get this blaster, I'll have to relearn how to prime things, apparently. He is selling the files for it on Etsy for $20. You will have to supply your own hardware though. That should come out to around $70, and again, should be pretty easy to find through hardware stores or on Amazon. That's pretty reasonable price for a homemade blaster, I think. And the instructions linked in the Etsy are thorough and includes printing instructions. I am endlessly frustrated by a folder full of parts, some of which are optional, some of them you need a specific version for some reason or another that's never explained because there's no documentation. That's a different rant. These instructions are very clear with lots of photos, and it includes a troubleshooting and an optimization section. I would generally recommend reading the instructions before purchasing anyway, just to ensure that you have the tools needed for fabrication. Surprisingly, not as many are required as I expected them to be. I'm really looking forward to trying this one out for myself. It looks awesome. And thank you so much for sharing, Phantom Lead. The Adventure Force Nexus Pro from Dart Zone is the first half-dart blaster on big box shelves. And that is absolutely incredible for our hobby. This blaster is a pump action springer that looks very similar to the Dart Zone Pro, but you have to remember that blaster was $150, only available online, and this is $50 and will be on the shelves at Walmart. It's just crazy to think about. This blaster does have some significant changes from the Dart Zone Pro. The most obvious one is that it is solid construction, one-piece blaster. There's no takedown features at all, which I personally consider a plus. I don't like takedown pins. They're all jangly, and I honestly don't see the need to go into my blaster all that often to begin with. Other people feel differently, but I personally prefer this solid one-body construction. The stock on it is a little bit cheaper, but it's still very solid and won't push itself in, and it has 5 extension slots, so however tall you are, you can make it work to fit you. And if you don't like that stock at all, well, it should accept buffer stocks, and that's pretty darn cool. The flip-up sights on it are a little bit flimsy, but it's Picatinny rail. Put whatever you want up there. It's got an angled grip that, if you don't like it, is removable with Picatinny underneath, so you can put the grip you do like on. The muzzle's a little funky. I think that will be a huge thing that the community is going to come forward and make a bunch of different versions of. I'd like to see one with an integrated scar. Someone should do that, pretty please. And it has a metal barrel. They did not cheap out there, thank goodness. And interestingly, there is no bolt sled in this blaster. Similar blasters like the Dart Zone Pro, like the Sita, like the Retaliator, similar in form factor, I mean, all have bolt sleds, but this one does not. It has a priming bar that goes over the barrel and attaches to the breech pusher. And like the Dart Zone Pro, this does not deprime, but it is dry fire safe. It's going to feel weird and bad at first, but you got to get over it. It comes with a 12-round full-length mag and 12-round half-length mag and half-length darts on store shelves in Walmart. Guys. Now let's talk a little bit about the darts. It obviously fires both full and half lengths, and they have a brand new version of dart for both full and half lengths. Both of these have a really similar head to the bamboo darts that came with the Dart Zone Pro. The main difference here is that the foam lacks the rings, and maybe that'll make them play a little nicer in other blasters. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait till people actually use them in other blasters and report back on that. A problem with the bamboo darts is that they were sold in packs of full and half lengths together, and that's really annoying because most of the time you really only want one type of dart, so you don't want to buy both kinds. But they've learned from that, and the Pro Darts are selling half lengths separately, which is awesome. It's going to be $10 for 100 darts. That's 10 cents a dart. That's not like crazy expensive and not super cheap. It's a really reasonable price for a dart. Initial reports from Drax, Spam, and some other Nerfers say that the foam is really high quality and that the performance is pretty good. And they're on the shelf, guys. I can't say that enough. So as far as performance goes, the half-length Pro Dart shooting out of the Nexus Pro is getting just under 150, which is perfect for super stock battles. With the Pro full lengths, you're getting about 140, and if you still have half-length bamboos left over and throw those in there, it's still getting just under 150. So it's an amazing super stock blaster to be like that close to the cap without any work. That's awesome. I am looking forward to comparative testing and a variety of blasters with a variety of darts. It'll be really interesting to see all of the compatibilities of this system and how it all works together. But that'll be coming soon, I'm sure. And while we're talking about compatibility, let's look at the adapter for a second. The half-length adapter for the Nexus Pro shows that Dart Zone has been paying attention. This is a wild card adapter. It has 2 retention nubs. It natively takes talons and katanas, as well as obviously the Dart Zone magazine that it came with. That's just incredible. I can't thank Dart Zone enough for clearly listening to the community, for taking feedback from the Dart Zone Pro and improving it for this cheaper and more accessible Nexus Pro. They've come to our events. They have sponsored our tournaments. They listened. And Hasbro can either do the same and improve, or they can go ahead and take that #1 blaster brand sticker off of their boxes. The Nexus Pro's official release date is August 1st at Walmart, and I have BrickSeek links in the description for anyone who is impatient like me. I'm refreshing that like every couple hours. Can't wait to get my hands on one of these. And now it's time for the mod of the week. And this week it goes to Kayakosaurus for his secret shots. Is it a blaster or a purse? Who knows? Bam! It's a blaster. Tricked ya. Kayak did an awesome job wrapping these up in leather, and the metal fittings seriously complete the illusion. And I absolutely loved watching his build video. It's so well filmed and well edited, and I also took some notes because I have a wrap project in mind as well. I think this was a really clever way of just pushing Hasbro's idea even further, and I'm really happy you shared it. Thanks, Kayakosaurus. I also really like saying your name, Kayakosaurus. It's fun. And that's all the news for this week. Thank you so much for watching. As usual, all the links to everything that I talked about are down in the description, as well as the like button and the subscribe button, which you should totally hit. We'll be back here next week, Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. And tell me, how excited are you for the Nexus Pro? I know I'm refreshing BrickSeek like every 6 hours. How often are you guys doing it? Like, I'm not crazy, right? I'm not the only one? Oh no. I'm crazy.